Redeem me, redeem me, redeem me. The cycle of shame slows us, crawls us, kills us. I need redemption. Do you? I need redemption. I felt this talk today heavy on me. And I know I haven't been around for a while. So you think, oh, wow, you left for 4 or 5 days and you did a bunch of sinning. And so now you came back and you want to talk about redemption. I got you figured out, Todd. Well, it's not quite how it came about, but I suppose I sinned over the last 4 days. I suppose I did. The sin isn't really what drove me to this topic this morning. Is the scripture that God pulled up for me, and that scripture is, in him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins in accordance with the riches of God's grace. And I started thinking about it, the redemption of such. I need redemption. In him we have redemption through his blood. So why do we need redemption? Through him, God, with Christ's blood, because we all sin. And I started thinking about my sin cycle, a cycle of sin that perpetuates and moves forward and forward and forward. And I can think of several sins in my life that have damaged me, have damaged other people. And here again, I am telling on myself in this show, because I just do that. I think it's incumbent on all of us to actually realize that we are the only answer to ourselves through our faith, through our belief structure. And part of that is to be honest with ourselves. If I ignored the fact that I talked about something I shouldn't have, if I ignore the fact I had an evil thought, if I ignored the fact that I didn't have a healthy reaction to something, if I ignored the fact that, the other day, it's just funny how you treat the ones you love the most. My wife, my damn near perfect wife, said something to me that was negative, and I was in a mood, and I was like, why are you saying that? And my body was tense, and I'm like, why are you turning on me? She didn't do anything wrong at all. She was challenging the process of something in business or something I was thinking, and I was angered. So, sin is inherited in us. And so I really want some of you watch the show, and I think you think a certain way of me, and I appreciate it. But man, sin is not escapable. Right? None of us can escape sin. I can think of being a boy. I remember fighting. I remember swearing for the first time. I even remember kissing a girl in 6th grade or something like that. And I had to tell my parents I sinned. I didn't really know what sin was back then, but I knew I wasn't supposed to kiss. I wasn't supposed to swear. I wasn't supposed to fight. I wasn't supposed to do certain things. And every time when I came home, especially when I got a whack from the principal, I always had to tell my father, I said, Dad, I was in a fight again, or Dad, I did this or did that. And he was my relief valve for my redemption. And my dad was always super cool about my sins or my troubles. And I and I remember I kissed this girl. Her name was Tammy Short. I remember we were in sixth grade or something, and it was, they were kids, right? I don't know. And I came home. I mean, there are worse sins, trust me. But this is a good example of if something of how our redemption, the word redemption, works in our life. And I'm going to get to the message, right? But here's the thing: I went home and I said to my dad, I said, "Dad, I got to tell you something. I know you're not going to be happy with me." And he says, "What is it, son? Spit it out." I said, "Dad, I kissed a girl." He says, "Oh, son, do you think you're a little young for that?" I said, "Probably." He said, "But let me ask you a question." I said, "Yeah, what, Dad? What, Dad? You're pulling me in. You haven't grounded me or pulled your belt off or anything like that. I mean, I want some punishment. I want some redemption. I want off the hook. I want some pain. I want some redemption, please." And he looks at me and he says, "Well, was it a short kiss or was it a long kiss?" I said, "Dad, it was a short kiss. It was a short kiss." He said, "Okay, so well, here's the thing, son. I mean, long kisses are different than short kisses. I don't want you going around kissing girls. I think we should stop this right now, but I want you to understand that not so bad. Not so bad." Thank you, Dad, for that redemption. I don't think I kissed another girl till at least seventh grade. I think I went the whole year. I mean, it was early in the year, and I mean, I didn't kiss another girl till seventh grade, and that was in Angola. I tell you, redemption. And it got me thinking about the two, this idea. He says, "What type of kiss was it, long or short?" It's these two types of kisses, and I'm not like redemption, two types of sin, What is going on here? And I think the Bible really wants to talk to us about redemption as a whole. But I also think that the Bible's pretty clear on the two types of sins. And the two types of sins that the Bible implicitly talks to us about is the sin of commission or the sin of omission. Now, even though my father gave me two choices, short kiss or long kiss, he really was weeding out the first, he was dealing with the sin of commission, the admission that I had sinned, the admission that I needed, that I needed redeemed, right? The other sin of commission is the opposite of the sin of omission. And the sin of omission, I think, is a deadly, deadly sin as well. Maybe even more deadly because it's quiet. It's this idea of you not confronting something that you should confront, that you've been called to do, and you don't. You omit from partaking in helping. You omit from this process of being a part of a solution or saving or rescuing. You omit yourself. You don't tell the whole truth so that something can actually become of it for you. Now, I have been guilty of omission and commission. I've had a long time to sin in my life. And the reason I'm talking about myself is it's not that because, this is like Todd's got this big, massive ego. It's because it's easier for you to realize that, hey, man, if I'm willing to get out here in the World Wide Web and say, listen, man, I'm a sinner. Here's what I did. Here's what I didn't do. Here's what I will do. Here's what I won't do. Like some people look at famous people and use them as bars of success or not success. And I don't generally do that. And I don't suggest that you do that, but I do know that you take people like me in many cases and say, okay, where are they at? Where am I at? Right. So if I'm not willing to share with you the weight of redemption, it plagues me on a rag. then how can you? Because you're not void of sin. And so today I wanted to kind of talk to you about the topic here, redeem me, man. Redeem me, O Lord. The cycle of shame slows us, crawls us, then kills us. And the hope in this message today is that there's something for you. There's something for you to move out of sin. More importantly, there's something for you to be redeemed. And I told a short story about kissing the girl in sixth grade. And I went to my father and I said, Dad, I can't keep it in any longer. I really messed up. I shouldn't have done it, but I kissed a girl, and it was in lunchtime, recess time, and it felt awful. Like I knew I was wrong. And yes, there's worse things that I have done in my life, but a sin is a sin. God teaches us that he looks at most sins equally. And I think there's some debate there on the difference between murder and kissing a girl. And that's a whole nother show, but I want you to take sin for sin, because God gave us Christ for all of our sin, whether it's kissing the girl or even murdering somebody. Christ is there to redeem us from our sin. What does redemption mean? Redemption means, one, an act of redeeming or atoning for a fault or a mistake. Redeeming. Number two, deliverance or rescue. Number three, repurchase as of something sold. You buy something and they take it back because you didn't like it, right? It wasn't what you wanted, or it was defunct. 4, atonement for guilt. You feel guilty about kissing the girl. You feel guilty about thinking poorly of your parents. You feel guilty of, saying bad words about somebody, right? You're atoned. Somehow you were redeemed. What you said was forgiven by them, or proven to be otherwise, and you were able to say something that fixed it. You've been redeemed. And last but not least, recover by payment as of something pledged. So we all know what the word redeemed is, but God is talking about being our redeemer. He wants to be our redeemer. He wants to be the person. He wants to be that place that we go to and have complete confidence that we can be redeemed no matter the size of the sin. Whether you believe sins are all equal or whether you believe some sins are variated, the bottom line is Christ came to us to cover those sins. And I think that's the big message here. And so what I wanted to share with you in the last few minutes here is tomorrow we're going to talk about how shame hurts us, because what sin does to us is creates shame. Shame. And shame comes from sin. And when we don't remove shame, or we don't remove sin from our life, we create what's called a cycle of shame. And when we shame ourselves and we continue to shame ourselves and we don't allow redemption in for an act of omission or commission, then we fall into the gutter of shame cycle. And this is what I don't want from you. This is the things that I'm teaching you today, is I want you to avoid the shame. I want you to beware of the shame cycle, because the shame cycle allows us to say in the same shame, the same shame, the same shame, the same shame, slowly dripping down, lower, recycling the same sins, even creating new sins, because we feel that God is not there for us any longer because we are sinners. And then that sin continues to sin upon sin upon sin. We become depressed upon depressed upon depressed. And we don't realize that the only way out is in one fell swoop, is Christ wiped it all off the plate for us, because he was perfect. That's what separates us from every other faith in religion in the world. We're not a religion. We're a faith. We're misfits, right? We're Christians. We're wired differently. We believe that Christ died on the cross for everybody here, so that they could be relieved of their shame. They could be relieved of their sin, therefore allowing them to be perfect in their mind, heart, and soul as they move the assumption or the ability to try to move towards God's perfection. We're all not going to get there. None of us are going to get there, but it's going to lift us up one day so that we will be with him. We will be without shame, and we will be with God, and we will be perfect and happy and all those things. And I can't explain all that. I just believe it. I mean, you got to believe something in your life. You can't just walk around saying, I don't believe this. I don't believe that. You got to start with belief. You got to understand that hope is the quintessential piece of our faith. And that faith is all rooted around this piece of redemption. My dad said, it's all right. You are redeemed. Don't go do it again. Don't be kissing the girls. You're too young for that. It's a stupid little story. But at the bottom of the day, at the end of the moment, I got you to understand that you are a sinner. I am a sinner. Like big, small, little, small, I don't care what you call it. We are sinners and we need redeemed. And if we don't ask for redemption, if we don't ask for this forgiveness, if we don't move through this process of forgiveness that God has given to us so readily, so easily, that we will live in shame. And the risk of the shame is compounding sin. And compounding sin puts us in a gutter, deeper and deeper. We drift further and further away from God. And that's Satan's plan. The further you're away from God, the more you're in the cycle of shame, the harder it is for us to be redeemed. And I don't want that for you. So tomorrow I'm going to give you the 5 pieces of shame, right? Separates, hurts, answers, messes, and dangers. We're going to go through all that tomorrow. I hope I'm speaking to you. I hope you're listening because we're all in this thing together. We're all misfits. We're all wired differently. And we all have the same answer, right? Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Tomorrow, let's knock this thing out. Hey, my friends, I need your help. I need you to get to wireddifferently.com. I have to put in the promo code WIRED15. I want you to get that t-shirt that says Faith Unshakable. I want you to get redemption shirts. I want you to get misfit shirts. I want you to get wired difference. I want you to wear God on your body, right? Why not a jersey for God? Why not a sign for God? Maybe just once a week wear it, but come on, somebody. This is how we move this mindset, mission, movement, ministry, and management. We're doing all these things, right? I'm doing all these things in my quest to make you better in managing your life in this wired differently world. Let me mentor you through these times. God bless you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, right? Separates, hurts, answers, messes, and dangers. We got this. We're going to destroy shame tomorrow.